Be advised, the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hello, good evening, and welcome once again to another episode of Illuminati with the lovely Trixie Huko.
Hi everyone, happy Tuesday.
And her escort
We are back with
service,
another bang
yeah.
this week. Before anything else, I'd like to give a huge shout out to my beloved mother, Jean-Marie Huko, who turned 60. So she's in the seniority realm now.
She's 60?
She is 60, can you believe that?
50.
Everyone thought she turned either
thought she was
45
turning
or 50.
50.
So I love you, Mama.
Oh. Sabi ito, kumare.
Looking forward to watching free movies with you and not having to line up in Mercury Jug. Senior citizen lane, she says.
Okay.
Anyhow, I'm particularly excited for the episode today because our guest on this episode is someone whom I've been wanting to feature for so long. He's someone I've greatly admired since childhood. I've looked up to him in more ways than I can say. Without further ado, shall I introduce our
Well,
guest?
he's been very, very busy. It's hard to find. Actually,
Yes,
it's
hard
not
to
based in
find.
Metro Manila, but in the forested area of Los Baños, Hot Springs. Yeah. And that's because of the nature of his work as well. Or maybe it's because it's probably why he became what he is, in terms of art, sculpture.
Maybe he can
and
tell us a little bit
installation.
later
See,
more
yeah,
about how he came to be
Okay.
what he is.
But he's a nature boy himself. Him and his art.
Okay, so our topic for today is actually installation art. This is something we have not featured in almost,
Yeah.
I think we're turning 3 years old.
Yeah.
Illuminati is turning 3
And
years
when
old.
you say installation art, there's no name that comes to mind as a Filipino artist than this guy that we happen to have.
Yes,
he is
he
Mr.
is-
Installation Artist.
Yes, our country's foremost installation artist. I am so proud and thrilled to welcome the one and only Junyi.
Hello, Junior. Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi.
First of all, happy birthday to Jean Marie, a good friend of mine. And congratulations to the 3rd year anniversary of this program, Illuminati.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, before we started this program,
Yes, you wanted to ask.
No, Junior and I were talking about this recent participation, diba, in an out-of-town activity involving Senator Edgardo Angara, a common friend of ours, and of course Senator Angara, among all the legislators we have, is the one who is most closely associated with the arts,
That's right.
most involved. Now, he
Yes.
really is hands-on with his art involvement. And Junyi happened to have just come back from Baler, where I know for a fact, because I also got an invite, but I couldn't make
And
it.
you didn't go.
They had a big bash over the weekend, partly to celebrate yata yung
The
Philippine-Spanish
Philippine-Spanish Friendship Day.
Friendship Month, June, yeah, the month of June. But also because Junyi happens to be the one taking charge of the Artists' Village
That's right.
in
That's right.
Dicasalarin,
That's right.
which is across Baler.
Yeah, that's right.
But what exactly are you doing in that
Well,
Artists' Village?
Well, it was my honor that Angara asked me to conceptualize and design an artist village. This is the first one in the country, actually, if not in Southeast Asia. It is a village where Filipino and foreign artists can hone their craft. We have a program, if we finish the whole village, of program of grant residency for all 7 disciplines of the arts, and then we have festivals, workshop, things like that. So we are looking forward to finish this in 2 years' time.
Great, 2 years. And that means across the board, no? In terms of
Yes,
artists,
yes,
no?
across the board.
Writers, visual
Yeah,
artists,
visual
musicians.
artists,
Yeah. It will be the first, siguro na, in the West, there's a lot of them in Europe,
Yes.
States, where you call them bursaries or grants that you get
Yeah.
for artists to not exactly get together, but to live together for some
Yes,
time.
yes,
You
yes.
make a proposal, di ba? And then
That's
they
right.
allow you to stay anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks to 6
Yes.
weeks to produce your
To
works.
produce your
Oo.
work, yeah. That's
Ganda
right.
no?
yeah.
And that place is lovely.
Yeah, it's
White
maganda
sand beach.
because actually it's situated
White
in a
sand
250 hectares forest land with a beautiful creek near a cove where Angara have his sort of a resort, private one.
Yeah.
So it's ideal for artists to hone their crafts. So
Perfect,
looking
no?
forward.
Oo,
Yes,
oo.
perfect place actually.
But maybe we can retrace the beginnings of
Yes.
your work.
That's where I
Junior.
wanted to go.
All right.
Yes, because before the program, I was talking more with Tito Juni, as I call him. I'm sorry, I'm the junior of the program. You're the senior. I'm the junior. I was talking to Tito Juni about his roots and how he ventured slowly into installation art, because what most of you may or may not know is that you actually began with sculpture back in college.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So
Yes.
what was it really that really veered you towards installation art?
Well, it's a long story. I don't know how to make it short because there's a lot of elements that conspire how I came up with installation. In fact, when I started it, I don't know that it's called installation, you know. Hindi ko
Yes.
alam po yun. I majored in sculpture in college and I was doing well. And I really thought that I will continue. I'm still doing sculpture, of course. In fact, I'm doing public art now. Just come back from Israel where I have this big Holocaust Memorial Park sculpture that I did for them. But for the last 40 years, I've been doing installation. And maybe because I am a provinciano, I'm from the bundok, so I'm used to wide space. And I was not content with just painting or sculpture, and I want something to do with directly with the environment because
Where did you originally come from?
I'm from Agusan del Norte.
Is that right? No,
Agusan.
Agusan del
I'm
Norte.
Agusano, it's Bisaya, if you
The
Bisaya.
land of the loggers.
Yes,
During
an illegal
Marcos
logging,
time.
so that.
Yes,
Yeah,
and in
yeah.
fact, he has a work that makes use of the
Angon?
products of illegal logging. You'll talk about that more later.
Yes, yes, I will.
So I
Yes,
see, why the influence. No?
Yeah, the influence is a composite of spirituality, politics, because during the time in UP, it was the time of activism, if you remember, and hippie time, where hippie have long hair and things like that. But the thing about Philippine art, we're looking about Philippine art, and I think if you ask me what is Philippine art, it can be what you are producing. So other romantic people are looking for something beyond what we are doing. But then if you define Philippine arts, it should be defined by what you produce. And during that time, we produce Western art. Even now, it's Western art. So
A lot are
that is our art.
producing Western
So
art.
if you want to look beyond that, that will be very hard. And that was my problem because I wanted to look beyond what is commonly as Philippine art, which is Western. So I started with the idea of going back to my roots. So, and the way to go back there is to start clean slate. So I burned all my things, if you
Yes,
remember.
that's an
I
interesting
burned
story about Juni. When he was in college, he decided to take all his material possessions together and just burn them in one go. And the reason is because you wanted to
I want
start with
to
a clean
start
slate.
again. I want to unlearn everything I learned from college. Sorry, UP Fine Arts. It's nothing to do with. It's nothing to do with you. And so I want to start all over again and learn from my roots, going back to my roots, and that's the mountain.
What would you then call that kind of art that you embarked on as indigenous art, or something similar to
You make
indigenous
use of a
art?
lot of
Yes.
indigenous materials.
It
for
become
sure.
indigenous because first of all, I really work with the environment.
Yes.
That's one of the impetus why I go back to. And another one is using indigenous material. Maybe because partly I don't have the money to buy expensive art material. While using indigenous material, just go to Makiling, everything is there, pulot ka
Yeah,
lang,
so
you
that's
know.
like you can collect found
Yeah.
objects
Yeah.
from your
Found objects.
environment
Found
as
objects.
opposed to
Nature
having to
objects.
purchase
Oh,
glass
oh,
and make
yeah.
glass sculptures and
You also
and the
went
like.
into paper making for a while, right?
No, not really.
never?
Just for workshop with Pandi
Ah,
Abiado,
okay.
things
Oh,
like
that's- I
that.
remember that.
But
Oh,
I
that's
use a
great.
lot of handmade paper in my works.
Ah.
Even now.
Yes.
So that's how I started. I use the refuse of the mountain, refuse of the sea, and rivers, things like that, because it's for free. You know, a lot of
Yes.
them are found objects. So,
Most
and
of the time, too. I'm sorry. Junyi is also associated often, no, with whenever you say that Junyi has a new exhibit or a new installation work. Most art observers would parang expect that you were making a statement, right, for the environment or against something.
It's always been my so-called trademark, because I have very few art exhibition. I don't really actually like
Yes.
art exhibition. The one I am having now with the Romela Gallery is my first in 4 or 5 years.
Is that right?
Yeah, I only have 3 commercial exhibition in my whole life as an artist. All my works is usually done outdoor at CCP, Metropolitan, Alliance Francis, and abroad, of course.
That's right.
So
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, this is the current exhibit that you call the suit,
Suit, suit
art,
work,
right?
yeah.
Suit, S-O-O-T.
is OOT, yeah.
Now, this is a good time as any, to ask
Yes.
our technicians, if we can share some of the
We
visuals.
actually prepped the first
Uh-huh.
folder containing pictures from the suit exhibit.
If we
Hopefully,
can
we
take,
can
if we can
air that in a little
have
bit.
our audience view ayan, no, itong,
That's
This
me.
is you, Tito.
Yeah, that's me.
And why are you wearing the mask?
Because I'm using suit. It's not.
okay.
What exactly, yes, can you explain your suit works?
Suit is actually the powder form of charcoal.
These are not
you know.
paintings. You don't use a brush.
Well, it's not painting technically, because painting, they don't consider black as a color. But painting is an application of color on a surface. That's the definition of painting.
Yes.
So for me, it's a painting because I'm applying black. For me, is a color. Everything that can be visualized or seen by the eyes is a color, whether
Yes.
you're colorblind or
Yes.
not. So
Or like
Black is my favorite color.
Laulian
Yes.
pen. How can you
Yes.
what do you call this work? I mean, they're all black on
yeah,
white.
black
no?
or
So-
white. That's why.
And Tito
So-
Lau is one of my favorite artists.
Anyway, your apron naman is red. So.
That's right.
Oh,
Pinahiram
but-
ng
Oh,
wife ko
that's
yun.
This is a sample of that suit art, no?
Yeah, it's
where
I
you
think.
burn something, you create ashes, and then you use the suit to create those images on
Yes. On a,
special paper.
on a marine plywood painted white.
marine plywood.
Because marine plywood can stand the fire that I'm using. Because I'm using a candle sometimes.
Yes.
I
I'm
see.
using
Sometimes smaller flame and sometimes
yeah.
a bigger.
yeah.
This is interesting, huh? This is so
Ganda, no?
chiaroscuro, black and white.
That's the title, I think, if I remember, is Almost Morning.
Almost morning. This is
Beautiful.
marine plywood.
Yeah, marine plywood.
Marine plyboard
Or
or
plywood.
plywood. And then you actually burn that wood or subject it to fire.
Yeah.
Ah.
So
because
how
I'm
much-
using a lampara. Use
I
the
see.
native lampara. Very
How much-
ordinary.
Gasera, the gasera.
Lagisera, yeah.
Oh, to make those black the
Yeah.
smoke, the suit nga.
I'm sorry we don't have the video where I
Yes.
demonstrated.
He actually did bring in a video. Unfortunately, the format was not
Ouroboros.
compatible with the equipment that was available here at GN.
Yeah, this is the one I demonstrated in the video. I was lying down, I have my mask, because you cannot do it in standing up.
Yes,
So
yes.
you have to lie down while the canvas is up in my So you
Okay.
use the gasera or candle
gasera.
to form the image or images.
But the marine plywood has been primed.
Yeah, has been painted,
With what? What do you
ordinary paint, then masilya.
Enamel?
Yes, enamel.
White enamel.
White enamel, then masilya.
Ang galing. Kaya
Do you have total control over a work like this when
No,
you're working
there are
with?
a lot of serendipity kind of thing
Yes,
there.
I
you
would
know.
imagine
Yeah.
so.
Wow,
This is 8 feet. This is calado, actually. It's 3
Parang
feet.
kalyado nga.
Oh,
no?
kalyado. It's 3 feet by 8 feet.
Is that 2 layers of material? No.
No,
It's
just
just
one.
an illusion.
Illusion.
The edges.
Yeah, that is an illusion.
Yeah, create an illusion that parang nagti-3D yung interior frame, no?
There is no kalyado there. Actually, it's all suit. It's all suit.
Galing.
It's another one.
It's all a matter of how long you hold the gasera to that spot. No?
And how you
I'm sure there
control
are a
it.
lot of factors. Yes, how you control it, where you move it.
Yes.
How close
How
to-
close or how far?
Yes.
Okay. Do you actually apply your fingers on it?
No,
Or
it's
never?
impossible.
Talagang ganun lang.
Ganun
It's
lang,
the,
ganun lang. But I do employ other material like fiber put it so I can create images. Then I take it out, so what remains is like a negative kind of thing. So
Yes. And how long have you been doing this medium?
the first one that I did seriously, it was one whole plywood big, was 1986. But before that, I keep
1986,
on
wow.
experimenting because I don't have. It's been in my mind for so long. I don't really have the time because I'm doing a lot of other things. Then finally, Silvana said, "Please give me a suit exhibition," and that's the result.
All of these photographs of works by Junyi that you're seeing.
Ito, how
are
come there's color
currently-
here?
Are they currently being exhibited in Galleria
Yes, it's
Dumila?
currently exhibited at Dumila Gallery in Pasay up
to July
28.
Okay.
So do go see it,
Wait,
viewers.
can we go back to the previous image? Na, how come there's this
Color.
One? Oh,
It's a very simple technique. You just apply the color first.
I
then,
see. On the white,
yeah.
you cover it
Yeah.
with red, and then you apply.
You
the
apply
suit.
the suit.
Yeah, lovely. Oh, ganda.
So the control is maybe 50% and 50%.
Yeah.
50% of the chance.
Yeah.
Of the
Happenstance,
chance, yeah.
accidents,
So if I don't
serendipity,
like the result, I do it again.
Yes.
That's right. No, you can always reprime.
That's right.
But at first, I thought that you were employing something to, you not just rely on the suit hitting the wood, but some sort of brush or your finger,
No.
like finger painting. Or
No touching, actually.
No touching, yes.
direct
That's what's
touching.
so incredible about it.
Yeah.
In fact, you had some of these exhibited in Nova Gallery.
Yeah, that was the first
Yes,
one.
a few months ago,
A few
and I brought
months.
some
With-
friends along, and they were in love with it, and they were like, "If only I had more
Thank
money,
you.
I would want to own this." Because
No,
they're
I'm
really
actually,
beautiful pieces.
I think I'll try to burn our ceiling later today.
Actually, some member of the Saling Pusa also my work, they applied it on their ceiling because
That's
I
right.
encourage young artists to use suit because it's
very
not
nice.
expensive. You don't,
Yes.
oil paint very expensive. One tube will cost you 300, 500 pesos, So I have always been like that. I try to look for some alternative materials where I can save
And
a
that
lot.
is the
yeah.
statement,
Yeah,
diba?
I
That
think
is
that's
the
the
statement
There's
and the
always a
philosophy.
statement with Junyi.
Yeah.
Finding alternative means of creating images.
That's right.
Parang, in effect, if you compare it to photography, it's like the old camera oscura.
Yeah, yeah.
Diba?
Oo, oo.
When you have a burst of sunlight hitting a piece of paper, ganyan,
Yeah, yeah.
no more chemicals.
No,
ganyan,
diretso
oo.
na.
Galing.
Diretso na.
Yeah, ganda.
Maybe, yes.
Tito, would you say that wherever you go, you're constantly looking for sources of inspiration for your works? Because as Krip had mentioned, whenever you come out with an installational piece or like one of your suit pieces, there seems to always be an innerlaying message.
Yes.
There seems to always be a sense of spirituality.
Yes.
And I would imagine that you created it in sort of a trance-like.
Well,
frame
I
of
actually spend a lot of time, more than making art, I do spend a lot of time just sitting down, thinking about things.
Meditate.
Yeah, I
Like you.
My wife is nagging me, because I spend more time sitting by the window. Actually, I'm more fascinated with the working of the universe more than making artwork. And
Okay.
if you happen to be in my show, you will realize that all of this is about the universe,
Yes.
about how we come in.
Sort of
you know,
contemplating the
contemplating.
mysteries of the universe.
So I even have a very big telescope, to watch the heavenly bodies until now. So maybe my wife said that kung magtrabaho ka lang as the way you spend time doing nothing, siguro ang yaman na natin, sabi niya, because I spend more time just sitting
Speaking
down.
of your wife, we should give another shout out to Tita Marites.
Yeah.
They've been married for around 28 years.
28 years,
28
yes.
years, and she's been so supportive of you.
I see, yes.
I think she finally
your career.
realized she's married to a mystic more than anything else.
Hi, Tita, if you're watching.
Yeah.
Because that's also mystical art, that what you're doing, di ba? The
Actually,
connection to the
you're right
universe, the dragon currents, the ley lines,
Yeah.
nature's energy.
Yeah, you're right there.
Oh.
You're right.
I
there.
remember, Juni, that in my first parang acquaintance with your work, when you used to work a lot with leaves, di ba?
Yeah, yeah. Dahon,
Mga
yeah.
fallen
Dahon,
leaves,
yeah.
ganyan.
I remember actually as a child, one installation struck me. Though I wouldn't remember it so vividly because I was much younger. I'm not sure if this was in Kamalig, you created
Yeah.
one that made use of leaves na
I
parang...
don't think you were
parang-
born yet. If it's
Parang
Kumali.
ginawa. No, I wasn't Kamali. We had one of
Kumali
the
was
first
so
performance events
long
there.
ago. Kumali
Judy
was-
Sibayan was
Yeah,
there.
that was the 1970s.
Yeah.
I have the memory of an elephant.
Yeah,
I
I
have
have-
memories
I have
from
a
as young
show.
as 2 years old.
I've seen you in Kamaliga. During that time, your father
I
and Jean
remember
Marie were
it.
working downstairs making pottery or
Yes,
ceramics
yes.
work. That's how I get
Yeah, they were
acquainted
just
your
making
parents.
ligawan then. You weren't around.
I think they I think they were married already. That was
Okay.
1980,
Yeah, okay.
1984, 85, something
Yes,
like
see,
that.
so I was around 2 years old.
I forgot the date
I
already.
told you,
Wait,
I've had...
no, I know my math. Okay, you're 22 now, right? 22.
Oh no, here he goes.
There we go.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but beyond the, ano nga, okay, leaves, suit, using the wick of a gazera.
Yeah, gazera.
You've worked with tree bark, I think, di ba?
Everything you
Tree
can
bark,
imagine. You cannot mention anything from the
ropes,
forest
no?
that I have not used, actually.
From the forest.
And the sea.
Would you say that these materials have a way of speaking to you?
Yeah. While I started, I
Like you
thought,
don't look for them, but they find you.
yes, I even wrote about that. I realized later on that it was the mountain teaching me how to do it than the other way around. Because at first I thought I was just looking for material, for preconceived idea for how to do it. But later on, it was the mountain dictating to me how to do it. And my work
Yes.
gets bigger and bigger and bigger, so until I come up with more than 1 hectare big installation, things
Yes.
like
Speaking of that, we're actually pretty
On
much
that note,
yeah,
yes.
on that note, we're pretty much out of time for the first half. Not yet. Okay, sorry, we were just queued. 3 more minutes. But speaking of that, you mentioned your works were getting bigger and bigger until they were hectares big. You are known actually more for making large-scale installations.
What's your biggest ever installation?
I think the biggest is one I did in Fukuoka because it was in the whole
Fukuoka,
park,
okay.
Fukuoka City, and I have a lot of sponsors there. And the next one I think is the Angod and the
Yes.
Centennial installation at CCP
Angod
also.
is one of my favorites. We'll be talking about that as soon as we get back from the second half.
And showing some samples.
And showing some
Where else
photos.
have you exhibited abroad apart from Japan?
My first one is in Japan, in Jan Trienal, then in Paris Biennial, then
Cuba, yes.
Australia, Japan, China. I was
Been
I was
all
very
over.
good. All over
Yes.
na Southeast Asia, of course. I think modesty aside, I have a lot of followers in Southeast Asia when I started because they don't know this installation art. Then I conducted a
You're the
work.
father of installation.
I hope so.
Yes. In fact, you did not even know.
I
it was
don't even
installation
know
art
it was
when
called
you first
installation.
created it.
Then it's very strange sometimes, a happy coincidence in Australia, in Brisbane, for the first Asia Pacific Triennial. One of the delegates from Indonesia was a young installation artist, and he told me, "Sir, I heard your lecture and demonstration in Indonesia. That's why I become an installation artist."
You got
It
inspired and
inspired
influenced,
a lot of people, young people.
That feels so good, no? When you
feels so
when
good.
you see that the torch is passed
Yes.
Yes.
or the
something-
gazera is passed.
I hope the Gasera will be passed also to younger artists.
You are certainly perhaps the hugest inspiration to younger artists who are pursuing
I hope
installation
so.
art.
I hope so.
No doubt.
So let's take
Unfortunately,
let's
we're
take
all
a
about
break.
out of
Let's
time
take
for
a
the
break.
first half. We'll be back in the
Uh,
second half, and then we'll talk about installation art more with the great Junie.
Thank you.
Stay with us.